All right, so welcome to my talk. This is about how to keep a client happy. So I'm assuming you already have happy clients, so now what do you do next to keep them happy? That's what this talk is all about. So a little bit about me. I work at Crossfield Digital. We have offices in New York City, and we just opened an office in Miami, which is where I will be based out of once my house sells in Tampa. So if anyone needs a house, talk to me. No. So I'm the head of operations and project management at Crossfield Digital. What I do is a little bit of everything, but mostly on the project management side, working with the project management team, along with resourcing and kind of the sales cycle. So I am part of the sales process as well. I've worked at 4 agencies in over the last 8 years. This is my 4th one right now. And a little bit about me, I'm obsessed with Disney and running and food. So that is me in a nutshell. So here are the things we're going to be covering. Step 1 is to be open with the clients. Step 2, be honest. The 3rd one being listen. The 4th being get personal. And the 5th one is what do I do if I have a difficult client, which I'm sure everyone has dealt with so far. So the first one is be open. This one is kind of hard, especially when it comes to project work. But the truth of it is, the client's gonna find out whatever it is you're trying to hide. So let's say something's really hard, it's taking you longer than you thought. That means their timeline's gonna expand, and they're gonna realize that very, very quickly. So the number 1 rule I like to live by with my clients is, I'm gonna be honest with them, and I'm gonna remember that they're gonna find out whatever it is I'm hiding. And in the last talk too, it's very similar to any relationship. So when I think about my clients, I think about a personal relationship I've had, a dating relationship. Like, that's how you treat your clients, because that's how close you get with them. So again, with being clear and transparent, give them a risk log. This is something I love to do with my clients, is show them, what's happening and how can they make sure that they're staying on track. So if they need a quick turnaround, say, this is the part where I see a lot of times the clients are taking too long, is they're not making decisions around UX and design. They just can't decide what it is they want. They don't like the color, whatever it is. So I tell them, okay, this is a risk, and this is what you're doing. This is the likelihood of it occurring. This is the impact to the project. So yes, you're taking 4 weeks to tell me that you don't like this design, but guess what? That's gonna impact the timeline. It may even impact how much you're paying for this project. What's the contingency plan? So okay, I'm gonna book meetings with you guys every single week until the designs are finalized. I'm gonna check in all the time. I'm gonna let you know, if you don't give me this design approval by Friday, your timeline's gonna expand by at least a week. So it's just letting them know and having it on paper too, something that they can see and something they'll be reminded about. And then once this is no longer a risk, I go down to the status and I say it's complete, it's no longer a risk for you. So scope creep, this happens all the time, every client does it, but what you do with the scope creep really affects your relationship with the client. So they have an idea, you know what a great idea, client, I love this idea, but is this a requirement? Do you really need this for launch? This is gonna take 2 weeks extra. Do you have the money for 2 weeks extra? Does it really make sense for your business for this little thing that you wanna pay extra money for? Okay, do you still wanna move forward with it? Great. This is the new timeline, this is your new cost of your site. Now, is there something challenging for you and your team? Discuss it with your clients. They're the ones that use the site the most. They'll probably have something that they know that you don't know about that's really gonna help your team. So let's say your developer is having a problem building X, Y, and Z, or you are having trouble building this. Maybe learn more about how they're using it, what they're using it for. There could be an easier way for you to build it that you didn't know about because you didn't ask them about it. So that's another thing to talk to them about. And one thing I didn't ask you guys is how many of you here are developers, freelancers, so you do everything from start to finish? Okay, so about half of you. Do any of you work for agencies that are project managers? And okay, a couple of you. Okay, I think that was helpful to know. So it's your job to balance the line between defending your team and the project and making your clients happy. So at all the agencies I've worked for, I've worked with multiple people on my team that are developers, and we work straight with the clients. And it's my job to make sure that not only is the client happy, but my development team. Because a lot of times those things are the exact opposite. Your client's really happy because you guys are working weekends, you're working really, really late and really, really hard for them, but your developers are pissed. They don't have their weekend anymore, so they don't want to be working on this project. So it's a really fine line between making sure your clients are happy and making sure that your team is happy too. So another thing, send weekly updates on the hours you're using, the blockers you're having. Again, this is something I do for my small clients, and this is something I do for my large clients. They want to know, how are we tracking on our hours? Like, what are you guys doing? Give them weekly updates and let them know where you're at. We also like to do just kind of weekly show and tells where we show them, okay, like this past week, this is what we built. I don't want any feedback on it. I don't want you to say this doesn't look right or that isn't working. I'm just showing you this is what we did in the last week. A lot of times clients like to see, like, what are you actually doing with my money? And this is what we like to show them. And reset expectations as often as you can. That's really, really important. Clients expect for you to be honest. They expect for you to give them exactly what they paid for. But if they're not doing something that you need them to do, you need to reset their expectations and let them know that they're not helping. And then give them insight into your to-do list. This is something I've done only twice before because sometimes it can be a nightmare, but sometimes I do like to show clients exactly what our team's working on. So here's a screenshot from Pivotal Tracker. It's a tool we use, the development team uses. This shows everything that they're working on this week, and then below shows everything that they're gonna work on next. And I have given clients logins so they can physically see, like, so-and-so is working on that ticket, someone else is working on that ticket. This is good for the clients that just like to see and not ask questions and get involved, because if you give this to the wrong client, they're gonna say, well, I saw the note that Martine left and he's saying that, you know, he decided to build it this way instead of that way. That's not the type of client you want to see this, because they will get too involved. But this is perfect for the client that just wants to see what's going on and they're not gonna get involved and ask too many questions. So are you gonna go over a budget? Nothing is worse than knowing this right before launch. I've been at companies where I was told, don't say anything to the client yet because they're gonna get really, really mad before launch. Yeah, they're gonna get really, really mad if this is 6 weeks before launch. They're gonna get mad. But it's something you need to tell them, and you need to tell them right away. I do not believe in lying to clients. I do not believe in not telling them what's going on. If there's a reason that we're going over budget, granted, sometimes we underestimate, or we don't realize something's more complicated than it's gonna be in some instances, then they don't bear the cost of our mistakes. But if there's a reason that they've asked for something that costs more money that they know about, so they're signing off and doing a change order. But if something changes, they change something, they're causing something to take longer, this is something they're gonna need to realize is costing more money, and they're gonna need to know right away. Because they're not gonna be okay with you giving them a bill for $5,000 more at the end of the project. So be honest. Own your mistakes and do not put blames on others. When I first started as a project manager, straight out of college, I did this all the time. I blamed my developers all the time. It was easy for me. They didn't know my development team. It was great. Like, I just blamed someone else. But what happens here is sometimes your developers find out and then they get mad. Or sometimes the client finds out. It's just easier to say, hey, I totally forgot that you told me you wanted this blue, or you didn't want this button anymore, whatever it is. Just own your mistakes and don't put blame on others. Again, it's easier, but you don't want to do it. So push back if the client's idea is not ideal or best for their business or for their users. This is a hard one. With my sales team, sometimes they'll say, hey, they just asked for something new, this is great. And I'm like, yeah, it's great, but it's stupid. No one's gonna use it. They're wasting their money. As a salesperson, and if you have your own business, you of course are gonna say, great, more money, more work, this is awesome. But think about the client sometimes. Maybe this isn't a great idea for them. Maybe this is, you know, $5,000 extra of their money that's not gonna do anything for them. So push back. They're paying you for your time and for your expertise. So if they come to us with an idea they don't agree with, literally push back and tell them why. Maybe it is a great idea and the implementation is incorrect, so tell them that. Great idea, but we should do it this way instead. So work with the clients to figure out exactly what it is they're trying to solve. But just keep in mind, like, if you literally think it's a bad idea, tell them. I can't tell you how many clients we've had that says, hey, we want an app so bad. And I'm like, awesome, why do you want an app? Well, everyone has an app. Well, yeah, but people actually have to download the app. If they download it and they think it's stupid, they're gonna delete it. And there you have it. You spent all this money on an app that no one's using. So push back if it's a bad idea and maybe sell them on something else that's a better idea and not originally what they asked for. And have the hard conversations as soon as possible. So no one enjoys having tough conversations, but they need to happen. These hard conversations are hard for a reason. Clients get mad, clients get angry. I've had multiple calls with clients where they yell at me. It's not fun, but it's easier when you're not in the same room as them and they can't see your face. But if you are, it's really hard. It's a hard conversation to have, but you just need to have it and get it over with and think about what are the next steps to kind of get through what's going on right now. And then be honest with be honest with when they can expect an item to be completed. Yes, okay, this is a huge one. I work with developers every day. For those of you that are developers, I love you. I could never do what you do, but y'all are liars. You guys lie. I'm gonna say, how long is this gonna take? Oh, it's so easy, it's gonna take a day. Awesome, but I'm never gonna tell my client this will be done in a day because you guys are liars. So I take your estimates and I double it or I triple it depending on the developer because I get to know you very well. And I say, okay, this one, he always thinks it's gonna take a day, but it's literally gonna take him like 5 days. So let your client know that. Never give your client the date, the best estimate you have in your head. Never give them that, because the worst thing is, what if they have Black Friday's coming up? What if they have this huge sale on their site, it's an e-commerce site, and they want you to build something out, and they're literally putting money on this. They could lose money on whatever it is that you're doing, and you tell them it's gonna take 2 days, and it ends up taking a week, and they've missed Black Friday. Like, because of you, they literally lost thousands of dollars. So you never wanna tell your clients best case scenario. You just wanna add a little buffer, and then they're happy when it's done ahead of time. So that's a really, really big one, especially for you guys that it's just you, a one-person team. Don't ever tell your clients it's gonna be done in an hour or it's super easy, because you never know what you're gonna break, and then the project manager has to deal with it. So the next one, so listen. So like all good relationships, you really have to listen to your clients and you have to be aware of their needs at all times. So this is a really big one for clients that aren't the nicest clients. Why aren't they being nice? Are they getting pressure from a boss? Is this something that is on their job's on the line because of this project that they're working on with you? And keep in mind that they could be leading multiple projects at a time. You know, sometimes you'll get annoyed, like, I asked for just 2 images that I needed and it's taking them a week to get it to me. Like, this is horrible, like I have the worst client ever. But maybe think about it from their side. This could be one of 100 things that they have to do, one of their 100 responsibilities. So just keep that in mind and be mindful of their time as well. And are they the type that communicate best via phone or over emails? So if they're the type of person that likes to talk on the phone, get on the phone with them. If they're the type of person that prefers emails, only email them. I have a client right now, and bless their hearts, they are an elderly client for a nonprofit organization, and they require me to meet them at Bob Evans for 3 hours. I literally go, I drive an hour away from my house, and I meet them at Bob Evans, which is great because I get free food, and free food's awesome. But that's just how they like to communicate. They don't understand how to use Zoom. They don't understand Google spreadsheets. So I literally have to go to them and sit with them and show them what we're working on and show them exactly what I need from them. Yes, is that hard? Yes, but sometimes it's what you need to do, and it's what the client needs. So just remember kind of what the best kind of form of communication is for them and just kind of go along with it. This is another big one too. So respond promptly. Even if it's just to say, hey, I got your email, I'm just looking into it, please just respond to them. I'm sure some of you have worked with a realtor, for example, which I'm working with right now. She doesn't talk to me. I email her, I don't hear back for days, and I'm like, please just respond to my email and let me know, like, hey, I got this, I'm looking into whatever it is I need done. So this goes the same for your clients. Like, if they email you, they just want to know you're listening, they just want to know you're looking into it, so just respond and respond right away. My biggest pet peeve is sending an email and not hearing back for like 2 days. No, everyone has their phones. Everyone has emails for the most part to their phone. I expect you to respond to my email and let me know, okay, I got this, I'm looking into it. Great, that's all I needed to hear. I don't need the solution right away, I just want to know you're looking into it. So that's another big one too. So why a written follow-up? So this is a big one if you have a client that does like to do video conferencing or meet in person. Send those notes after the call in whatever form of communication you do, if you just do email, in my company we use Basecamp for all of our client communication. It all is there for everyone to see. But after I meet with someone, I always send through my meeting notes in Basecamp so that anyone in the company or anyone on their side and the client side can see this later. This is the best thing to do, because later on when they say, I never said that, or later on when they said, I didn't agree to remove that from the scope, you have it written, and you have a response from them saying, oh, hey, thanks for the information or whatever. Just always make sure they respond to it too, but always put it somewhere where it's written. So not only can you find it, if your boss needs to find it, if a coworker needs to find it, it's somewhere not in your email. I can't tell you how many times I've worked at companies where someone either got fired or left, and all the information is in their inbox. Like, yes, we can get access to their email and stuff, but how much easier is it to have a Basecamp or whatever tool you're using to find this information easily? So always make sure to send that written feedback. So get personal. This is an interesting one because not everyone likes to get personal, but it is good to learn about your clients. What do they like to do on the weekends? Do they like to travel? Do they have kids? Adding that personal touch to the relationship really makes the bond stronger. And if you're at a small company, you're at a big company, you want your clients to come back and you want them to refer you to other people. So if they like working with you, you guys have a good rapport, it's only more of a reason for them to come back and keep coming back for more. But keep in mind, not everyone wants to get personal. Sometimes people don't want to talk about their kids. People don't want to talk about whatever's going on in their personal life. But get a sense of their personality and really get to know them, because like I said, it does really change how you interact with them. Like I said before, building a stronger relationship with a client can be the reason why a short-term client comes back for bigger engagements. So I had a client 3 jobs ago where I did a very small project with them as their project manager, and they came and found me at my last company and said, hey, like, we really liked working with you because we had such a good relationship. So sometimes it's just taking that extra step and really getting to know them, because you don't know what company they're going to be at 5 years later. You don't know where they're going to be and what they could need from you. So make sure you really do a good job with that bond with your clients. Same with burning bridges. Like, as much as a client annoys you, as much as they say things and you want to say something back, again, you don't know where they're going to be later, so keep that relationship as good as you can. Add them on LinkedIn after the fact and really get to know them and stay in touch with them, because again, it could be something later that could really be good for your company. So this is the hardest one. So what if my client is difficult? How many of you here have had a difficult client? Everyone should be raising their hand. Everyone has had a difficult client. So what do you do? So first, you really need to think about the why. Why is it that they're being difficult? Are you not doing something right? Are you not communicating enough with them? What is it? What is the reason that they're being difficult? Yes, sometimes they could just be a-holes, but for the most part, like, there could be something more than that going on that you could really help them out with. Maybe you need to try a different approach with them. Again, maybe you're not telling them enough information, maybe you're not communicating enough and they're not feeling comfortable with where you're at in the process. So really just talk it through. Reach out to them with a reminder that you're there to help and your main goal is to make the project and to make them successful. Again, if they're at a bigger company, maybe they're just getting a lot of pushback from their boss and they really feel like if this launch doesn't go well, like, their job is on the line. So really work with them and make sure you understand what it is that they're going through and how you can help. And sometimes you just need to get help. So get another person involved in the project. Maybe for once it's you. This has happened to me once in my career where the problem literally was me. My client hated me. Like, she literally hated me. And I had to be moved off the project and she had to get another project manager. And it happens. Sometimes you get off to the wrong foot. Sometimes you say one thing that they remember and never forget and hate you forever, and it happens. And it's okay. And that's why you have other people in your company. Get help, get someone else involved in the project. And maybe it's not getting a new project manager, or maybe it's not that serious, but maybe bring someone else in. If you work in a bigger company and have someone who works on, like, the client relationship side and their job maybe just to get to know clients and to strengthen the relationship, bring someone else in that they don't know that could help. I went really fast, but I know everyone's hungry too. So that's really, really quickly kind of what to do to keep a happy client. But I do want to see if any of you guys have questions. I know in the last talk, you guys had a lot of questions that I wish I could have answered too. So if anyone has any questions at all, please, yeah.
I have a question and a comment.
Yeah.
The comment was for the under the listen, responding promptly, even if it's just to,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I do that all the time. One thing I would even like go further to add to it is just actually following up with that.
Yeah.
That promise or, oh, I'll get to this later, I'm keeping this in mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
People, I've done that before where they prefer to be on the phone and say, I'm going to take a look at that email right away. And then if it gets forgotten, I have to note for yourself.
Yep, absolutely.
Do that. And then, what was my question? Go to someone else.
Okay, that's fine.
My notes really
Yeah, in the back.
beginning.
Being in the service industry, providing service to customers, a lot of times providers don't have to adjust to their personality.
Yeah.
Do you do any like personality tests with your customers before working with them so that you can understand where they're coming from, where everyone comes from, and their products?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so the question was about personalities and working with the clients and how you get to know that before you start the project. And I wish, that's actually a really good idea. I wish I could send a potential client over here a personality quiz because you'll learn real quick, like, I don't want to work with them. But no, we don't do anything like that. But it's very easy. So at Crossfield, we have, for the most part, our clients sign off on discovery first. So we do the prototype, we do the design, and we do a full discovery with their team, and then we go into development. It's kind of two separate projects. So during the discovery phase, when we go in person or if it's through Zoom or whatever it is and talk to them, we learn very, very quickly what type of client it is that they are. And we tend to put them with our developers that we know will work well with that type of personality, or our project managers that work really well with that personality. So we do try to do that and kind of match when it comes to resourcing with where we think they'll work best together. But yeah, it is a hard thing, especially because clients at the very beginning, you don't know how they're really going to act until like halfway through and you're like, oh my God. But yeah, we try to do that up front and see where we can help things out before it gets kind of bad. Yeah?
Remembered. So when you had mentioned sending the weekly updates,
Yeah.
So you had mentioned to show only and let them know that you don't want feedback. So I feel like in an ideal world, that's exactly how I think any of us would want it to be. But like, do you ever like, come into like situations where they're going to give you their opinion no matter what? But almost, I have a second question of like, would you also see the benefit in getting that feedback early on so you don't go through with something that they're expecting?
Yep. Absolutely. So with some of our clients, and we don't do this with all of our clients because you're right, some of them don't know not to give you feedback, even though when you say don't give me feedback. But what we do is we'll do a screen share and show specific pages that we built or specific functionality that we built, and we just show it to them really quick. They don't have access to our staging site till we're ready to give it to them. So for those cases, that's fine. But for some of our bigger projects where we did more Scrum style, at the end of each of our sprints, we would actually deliver things to them and actually get real-time feedback and feedback that we're actually going to act upon, which is my favorite kind of project managing and using Scrum. But at my current company, I have not been able to successfully convince everyone that Scrum is the way to go. So this is my goal for 2018, is to bring everyone on a Scrum. But the purpose of Scrum is exactly that. Like, you go through and do a set amount of work, you deliver it to the client, you get the feedback, you fix it, and then you move on to the next piece. And that's exactly where I see like certain projects just being more successful, because you're absolutely right. The worst thing is for a client to see the project after 6 months when you're about to launch, and 3 weeks they have to give you all their feedback. It's better to give it to them in chunks and get the feedback and fix things before it gets to the end.
So you kind of like set that precedent, like this is where I'm just updating you, and then these
Exactly.
reveals are more of where we want your feedback.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. Yeah?
At the beginning of your email, you mentioned some sort of log, and I missed it a little bit.
Oh, the risk log. Yeah. So For most of my clients, I do a risk log where, and this is only if there's an actual risk that I need to share with them, but it literally lists out exactly what the problem is. Well, let me find it. Oh, there it is. So here is showing the description of the risk. In order to stay on track with the current launch date, design feedback will be need to receive no later than 2 business days after they're received, the likelihood of it, the impact to the project, what the plan is, and who owns it. So that's the important part too, is sometimes the client needs to do something and they're the ones that are causing this risk. And in that case, like, you need to let them know so they understand, like, I'm not doing what I need to do to actually make this project be successful. This is Basecamp. That's just a Basecamp message I left. Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear in the beginning. Is this online somewhere so we can get it?
I think I have to send it after the presentation, so I think it'll be on the WordCamp site.
Oh, a lot of folks are doing slide shares. That's
Oh, I didn't do that, but I'll give you my card and I can email it to you. That was smart. I should have done that. Any other questions? Yeah.
What's a good segue if you're meeting with a client about one project, but they begin to ask you for advice about other areas of your expertise?
Yeah. Can you give me like an example?
We work with political clients, and after about 140 races, they often have political questions that are outside of the creative delivered. We know the answers.
Yeah.
It can be a time suck, and it's hard to get additional money from a client who has to raise all the money that they're going to spend on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think with most of our clients, so once we're done with whatever the project was we're working on, and we do kind of like a maintenance phase, if they have a new project or a new idea, we send them back to the beginning of the project, which is more like of our sales team, and they talk to them before it kind of goes into anything past that.
I kind of mean in the actual client interaction, if they get out of scope into something.
Oh.
Doing that,
Got it.
do you have like a mechanism to say that's actually a different service? Or
Yeah, it's another kind of tough conversation, because it's like they have an idea that's out of scope and you kind of want to listen because you're like, well, we could do whatever it is that they're asking, but that's when you literally have to remind them, like, hey, like, this is a different project, like, we have to go back to what it is that we're talking about. And sometimes they get mad because, you know, they just want to talk to you and about their idea. But yeah, you just have to literally tell them, like, sorry, like, we're not talking about that right now. Like, we can let's meet another time and talk about that. I mean, you don't have to, but, you know, just tell them, like, for later we can talk about that. Yeah.
I came to a little later if you have a client that kind of like taking a long time getting back to you and stuff like that, pulling up the project, I can just tell you, but they got personal maybe on vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, how do you kind of manage that situation to get it somewhat back on track? You lose momentum and dependence.
Yeah, that's really hard, because I feel like that happens a lot, which is kind of crazy because they give you their money and then they like go on vacation. So that's something we try to talk about at the very beginning of the project when putting together the timeline. I like to ask them, like, hey, do you have anything big coming up within this point of time that I actually need you? Like, during development, go do whatever you want. I have everything I need here. But during this time, like, is there something going on? Tell me now. And then if a client, I literally had a client pay us for the whole project up front and he disappeared. And I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? Finally, 8 months later, we finished, we came back and we did the project. But it's all about just continuing to like reach out, let them know, like, hey, you're taking, you know, at our company, we have a pretty large team of developers. So when it comes to resourcing, like, I'm literally holding someone for this project and they're not working on the project, so they could be working on something else. So I literally reach out to the client. I say, hey, if I don't hear back from you in like a week, I have to have my team on something else. And then when they're done with that, then we'll come back to you, which is hard because they're going to be like, I already paid you, like, but it's just how it works. Like, I can't have a developer sitting here full time with nothing to do when he has something he or she could be doing. So it's just reaching out to them again and letting them know, if you don't reach back out to me, I'm literally going to change my team and they're going to go move on to something else. And then they should get back to you at that point. Yeah.
How do you deal with getting ongoing services from them? Is that an expectation you set up front?
Yeah.
You kind of coach them along the way with the project so that by the end you've got a clear understanding of how to move forward? How do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I say 9 out of 10 of our clients actually have maintenance contracts with us after the project, and that's because at the very beginning we kind of sell them on it. So when we send them the proposal, we say this is how much your project's going to take, and then this is what maintenance could look like, and we usually tell them, like, 30 hours a month might make sense, 80 hours a month might make sense, whatever it is. But we really try to sell them on that at the very beginning, because we try to explain to them, like, someone needs to maintain the site, and if you don't have someone that can do that, we are here, we built the site, so it makes the most sense for us to do that. So we really try to sell them at the beginning, because if it waits till the end, usually they're just like, it's okay. And then you hear back from them in like 6 months when they've broken 800 things and didn't update all their plugins. So that's what we try to do up front, is really get them on the maintenance. Anyone else? Yep.
You have a client that's difficult in the sense of not so much being absent, but being a micromanager. I know you had mentioned giving them insight into the to-do list, which I'm totally on board for. We have our clients are involved in teamwork as well, and they get to see our to-do list most of the time. I'm curious as to like what your experience is, because there are some clients that like to micromanage.
Yes.
They see tasks that they don't maybe understand.
Yeah.
They don't see how it fits into the big puzzle. It's like, how do you deal with stuff?
Yeah, those are exactly the clients we don't even show. Yeah, we really only show it to the clients if they specifically ask for it, and if we literally feel like we can trust them, because you're absolutely right. You get those micromanagers, especially the ones that have their own development team. They'll get in there and they'll be like, oh, they're doing that wrong, or why are they doing that first? We don't even let them see it, because it becomes such a big problem.
So it's more of like a case-by-case.
Exactly, yeah. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Have a good lunch.